I was working one day and I came home and I saw my dog Lou, and he was looking a little bit funny, and I looked at his face and it looked different. He had a swollen bang on his nose and I wasn't sure exactly what it could be. So like any responsible pet parent, we were off to the veterinarian. I went to the animal hospital right away. It's $400 to walk in the door and to visit. They looked at me and said, you know what, I think it's nothing. Just put some ice on it. He probably banged his face. 2 days later, Lou's bump was still the same size and it really didn't make sense, so I went to another veterinarian who looked at me and said, you know what, let's do a biopsy and just check it out to make sure that it's real. And what exactly is going on, we're not sure, but maybe the biopsy will tell us. So 2 days later, I get a phone call from the veterinarian's office who tells me that Lou has squamous cell carcinoma of the nasal cavity, which is a slow metabolizing cancer in your dog's nose, and will probably die within the next 2 weeks. I love Lou with all my heart, and I would never want to see him suffer. And for those that have children out there, it's a tragedy if your child ever dies before you. And you know, I treated Lou as if he was my child, so I wasn't going to just sit back and let something happen. I was going to see what I can do. And I started researching, and I came across a doctor who was an oncologist who said he could help. And he said, you know what, I want to do chemotherapy on your dog. I think it can make a big difference, and I think we could shrink the cells. So I went and sat there for an hour while Lou had an IV in his arm and got chemotherapy. And the chemotherapy seemed to be looking positive. And the doctor said, okay, we did our first treatment, and I think we're off to a good start. Here's 7 pills. I want you to take these 7 pills and give 1 every day, and then next week we're going to come for another treatment. I left smiling. I thought we had hope, and I thought there was a great chance for Lou to live a healthy future. Then I got a phone call from one of my very good friends I went to college with who was in the pharmaceutical business, and he goes, how is Lou? How's it going? And I said, you know what, I think I'm really doing the right thing. I think we have something that's really going to make a big difference, and we can keep Lou alive. He's like, that's great. I'm like, it's so expensive though. I just bought these pills. 7 pills were $700. And he goes, $700, that's expensive. Tell me what kind of pills they are. I gave him the name, maybe 5 seconds on hold. He comes back online and says, Blake, there's something going on here. And I said, what? And he goes, these pills are 100 pills for $7 is the wholesale price. I don't know why you're paying so much, but somebody just ripped you off. And I said, no, you must be looking at the wrong pills. We read, we confirmed. I couldn't even help it. I went back to the doctor and I asked to see him, and he came and said, how are you doing? Was there any problems? Did you have any other questions? I'm like, these pills, I just spoke to someone and said they're 100 pills for $7. You just charged me $700 for these pills. And he looked at me dead straight in the face and said, I'm a doctor. I had to count these pills. That's why I charged for my services. And I said, well, what does a pharmacy do? And he just didn't have an answer. And at that point, I knew that the love I had for Lou was ongoing, and I had to make a difference in his life, and I had to give him these pills, and I had to keep the treatments going. But all the people in that waiting room are all looking at each other going, I don't have enough money. How do I make it another 4 months, 4 days, 4 hours if I don't have enough money? Unfortunately, Lou did pass away, and we had a great funeral, and he left a legacy, and his legacy was the ability to understand that pets make a difference in your life, and to be able to continue living with your pet and be able to keep them alive when you're not sure if you can afford it or go forward with the right answer. PetCareRx came together to be able to pass that on. Losing a pet was the most traumatic experience I ever had, but being a pet owner, there's no better feeling. And Sam and I spent 10 years developing out Lou's dream.